As a PJ golf coach who is incredibly passionate about making you play better, I genuinely think, hand on heart, this is one of the most important videos you will watch. Now, this isn't going to get you to hit it 50 yards further off the tee. It's not going to shave 20 shots of your handicap in the next 5 minutes. It's not going to suddenly transform your ball striking, but the information in this video, if you take this on board, if you implement this in your practice, you will, I 100% guarantee you, become a better golfer, and you'll be able to hit shots that you never thought you could hit. We're going to explain it. Let's start this whole thing off with a little test or kind of experiment. I'm going to hit a chip to that flag over there. I'm going to set up, I'm going to take my normal setup, and I'm just going to hit a little chip, and we'll see kind of what we get. Okay, not bad. Now, without moving my feet, I'm going to try and hit all of those balls onto the green. So obviously this one is a little further away. Actually, probably a slightly better result. Okay, now this one is getting a lot further away from me now. This feels a little bit strange. Well, really difficult. Oh, not bad. Do you know what? That might be the best of the bunch. How bad was my technique on that last shot? Terrible. You'd never coach that. You'd look at that and you'd say, Chris, you're standing way too far away from the ball. That's a terrible technique. So how was I able to hit pretty decent shots from all those positions? Skill. I have got a fair amount of skill. Maybe not as much as I'd like, but I've got a fair amount of skill. So every time you play golf, the shots that you hit are made up of your technique and your skill. I'd love you to listen to this little analogy, and then we'll get into the bulk of the video. Imagine a Formula One race. Okay, you've got Lewis Hamilton and you've got me. I don't know why I'm in a race, but let's say I am. Let's say you give Lewis Hamilton the worst car on the grid and you stick him at the back of the grid. And you give me the best car on the grid and you put me at the front. The car references your golf swing. I've got the best car, I've got the best golf swing. He's got the worst car. But who wins that race? He wins every single time. He goes past me, probably on the 4th or 5th lap, even though his car isn't as good. Why? Because he's a better driver. The same applies with golf. It doesn't really matter how good technically your golf swing looks. If you can't drive it, if you can't use that golf swing, you're never going to be the best golfer. So think of it in this way. I've got a cross on the screen here. Your perfect technique is right in the center of that cross. Now, no one's got perfect technique. We're always a little bit away from that. And that circle represents my skill level. The goal is to get your technique inside your skill level. So we're all spending our time trying to move our technique perfectly into the center of that cross. It will help, trust me. But what about if we just increased our skill level? Well, if we increase our skill level, suddenly my technique is now inside my skill set and I'm able to hit all those shots that I want. I'm able to hit those low hooks around trees, those high shots. I'm able to deal with situations where the ball is above my feet, it's a downslope, it's in a divot, it's plugged in a bunker. All of these shots require skill because it's not a perfect situation. What I've just demonstrated there was my technique getting slightly worse each time and my skill was having to work overtime. It was really having to grind and work hard, but I was able to do it. So imagine I go on the golf course and I set up to a shot and I'm a little bit further away from the ball than I was last week. It doesn't affect me. I still hit good shots. Whereas if you don't develop your skill, any slight change in technique, any uneven lie, any little situation that isn't normal, your swing falls apart and you come off the golf course and you go, why was it so bad today? Why was that shot so bad on the 4th hole? It's because your skill wasn't working well enough based on your technique. Now, I know that's a lot of talking. I appreciate you listening. Let's get into the video and I'm going to show you 3 little situations, 3 little examples of drills that you can do to develop your skill. Let's start with the short game. Our first little exercise and drill to really develop your skill is around the short game. Now, when you're around the greens, you want really the ability to hit lots of different shots. High shots, low shots, mid-flighted shots. And very often those happen because we change setup and we change where the ball is relative to you. So this is all to do with strike. And really, when we're looking at strike, your golf club should not be landing on the ground basically relative to you. It should always be landing relative to where the ball is. Let me explain what I mean. I have got an alignment stick down here, which is going to be in the middle of my heels when I set up to this middle golf ball. This would be my basic chip or pitching setup. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to hit a shot with the stick in between my heels towards that flag, and I'm then going to just shuffle back and hit this ball, and then shuffle forward and hit those two. So relative to me, the ball is always in a different place. So therefore, what is the skill I'm training? Well, I'm training the ability to get the golf club to land where the ball is. which isn't always in the same place relative to me. So let's go ahead. There's a big break on this one. It's way off the left-hand side. So let's see how we can go on. And we should be able to get different ball flights from these different situations. So that's my kind of mid pitching wedge. That's probably the shot that I would hit from here. Might even go in a little bit short. So now I'm going to shuffle back, and this ball is now obviously further back in my stance. Feels a little bit strange, but I'm using my skill to deal with that situation. A lot of break on this one. Now we go to this one, even further back in my stance. So obviously there's going to be a different interaction with the ground. Much lower ball flight. I'm having to land it closer to me and slightly underhit that one. And now I'm going to shuffle forwards. These ones now obviously much further forward in my stance. We get a higher ball flight. I think I've overhit that one. That's not bad. And then this last one, way, way up in my stance. Look at the different trajectory on that. So to hit those different shots, if I wanted to hit the ball on different trajectories, oh, that was close to going in, then the ball's got to change relative to me. So when we're looking at short game, what is the skill? Where should the club land relative to your body? I can't answer that because the club has to land wherever the ball is. That's so key. So that little exercise is great for developing your skill. If you do that, you'll start to hit your chips a lot better around the greens and you'll unlock more shots that are available to you. Right, let's go back into the fairway and show you what we can do with your irons. The next skill I'm going to get you to develop is club face control. Now, pretty easy to see why this is really important. If you're someone who hits it off to the right, or you hit it off to the left, this is a skill which is going to change all that. The golfers out there who are great players have a high level of club face control. So I love this little exercise. It's one that's to be done in practice, but I call it army golf. Left, right, but we're going to add straight in there as well. So here is the little exercise. I've got myself a 7-iron. I've teed the ball up. You know, let's make it easy. We're not looking to work on strike here. We're looking at club face control. And you can see I've got a green in the distance. Not really going to worry too much about that at the moment, but I'm going to aim into the middle of that green. And I'm going to take my normal setup. And from here, I want to make, you know, 1/2 to 3/4 swings with 1/2 to 3/4 speed. And very simply, I just want to try and deliver 3 different club faces. A club face which is closed, a club face which is open, and then hopefully one which is somewhere in between the two. And again, I'm not trying to overthink this, I'm just trying to tap into my natural skill. The way I would feel this, and this might help you, would be to think about what my right hand is doing. If I place my hand on the grip, as I change where my right palm faces, it changes where the club face faces. So if I was trying to deliver a club face which is closed, I would very simply try and get the palm of my hand to rotate over a little bit more so it's facing the ground. That would deliver a club face which is closed. Open, I'm going to feel it more under, pointing out to the right, and then obviously for the last one I'm going to try and find something that's in between. Let's have a go. So I'm aiming at the middle of the green. Normal setup, normal backswing. Can I deliver a club face which is closed? Ball goes left, club face must have been closed. I'd be very, very happy with that. So at this stage, I'm not really too concerned with how far left and how far right, and I wouldn't want you to be either. It's literally just, can you get the ball to go relative to the target where you're trying to get it to go? My hand's soaking wet now because I've got dew all over the ground. So this one is probably going to end up in the water. I'm using range balls, so not going to lose an expensive ball, but this time, right palm is going to stay more under the golf club. And probably a little further right than I intended, but it went out to the right as planned. So I'm basically controlling that club face. Now that's golf. Golf is controlling the club face. That's one of the skills that every golfer needs. If you don't have the ability to control the club face, you're never going to hit fairways and greens. So we're tapping into a skill which is essential when you play golf. The final one, obviously, a little bit more difficult. So I've got to try and find that kind of happy medium. So I'm going for the tree right at the back of the green. And again, I'm not going to go at full speed, but I'm trying to basically go halfway between those 2 swings. And not bad. Came down maybe a couple of yards right of where I was aiming. Big stick driver. So how are you going to develop skill with the driver? Well, you can do the tasks and skills that we've done before, you know, hitting it from different ball positions, different tee heights, and creating different curves. But I want to specifically look at strike, and you're going to use this for it. It's powdered spray. So you're going to take this and you're going to spray it onto the face of your driver. So you need a decent coating like you see there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take doesn't have to be a tee, but I'm going to take a tee. And I'm just going to put a line straight down the middle of the golf club there, and I'm going to put one across the centre of the golf club here, a little bit wobbly. But what I've done now is split that driver into quarters. So you've got sort of low heel, low toe, high heel. And in this game, you're going to hit 4 shots. Now I've only got 2 balls here, I'm not going to hit all 4, but the goal is in practice, you're going to take a normal setup, you're going to try and create a normal backswing, but you're just going to try and hit the ball from each of those 4 quarters. Now, you might be sitting there watching this going, Chris, why on earth would I want to hit the ball out the toe and the heel and different parts of the golf club? I want to be at the centre, and of course you do. But great drivers of the golf ball who find the centre all the time have skill, and if you ask them to hit any of those 4 quarters, they could do it pretty easily. So what it's really training you to do is control effectively where this club head is in space relative to the ball. And if you can develop that as a skill, guess where you're going to be able to hit it every single time? Right out the centre. So this is a great example of practicing in a way where you don't actually have to hit perfect shots out the centre of the club to develop skill. You just need to train in a certain way that your skills are being challenged and enhanced. So let me go ahead and hit one, and we'll go for low toe. You can see I've got 2 golf balls teed up here, so I'm going to try and hit 2 shots and see how we get on. So I'm going to go low toe and see how we get on. And that is what is known as a fail. I've not even looked yet, but I know that wasn't low toe. I know that was low. There we go. So it wasn't. You see it was low in the face, but it wasn't at the toe, so I wouldn't give myself a tick there. Got the low part, didn't get the toe part. Let's do one more, and I'm going to try and go high heel. But this just shows how it's tricky. It's not an easy task, but this is the idea. We're trying to challenge you and push you out your comfort zone a little bit. So let's go high heel. And that one, I'm going to call, was pretty good. Felt awful. Ball flight was high and curving to the right. They can see. Actually wasn't as high as it felt, but it was definitely out towards the heel. So whilst I didn't quite get the zones that I wanted, I was able to move the strike around the face, and that's really the key part to this. If you can develop the ability to move the strike around the face, 4 shots, then go ahead and hit another 4, but try and hit the centre, you'll be amazed at how much better you are. So developing skill with the driver is going to help you hit the centre more often. Use those skills, develop those skills, short game, irons and driver, and trust me, you'll be a better golfer. Skill trumps technique. Develop your skill, and that's the real way to get better at this game.